All of y'all did that for the last 4 years.
Man, Charlamagne, I ain't lie about a damn thing.
Well, you ain't tell the truth.
Well, what?
You just kept quiet.
Okay.
Don't let him talk to you like that, Jay.
No, come on, man.
All right, last week, Charlamagne hosted ex-DNC chair Jaime Harrison on The Breakfast Club. And as you can see, Charlamagne did not pull any punches. So we have some amazing clips from that interview for you, including debates about AIPAC and Biden's fitness for office. But first, Cenk, we're starting to see some establishment Dems taking their marching orders and going on all the podcasts and the YouTube shows, trying to connect with the people out there. And they're kind of getting burned for it. These shows aren't as establishment friendly as they were perhaps hoping they would be. So what do you think about this interview?
Loved it. I wait till you see all of it. So Charlamagne, as you guys probably know, I think he's awesome. I think he's a really honest host that is rare in American media, and he's a guy who is on the left and obviously is not in Trump's camp and would normally be in favor of Democrats. But if you're in favor of Democrats, you have to hold Democrats accountable. Having a weak, flaccid party that never does the right thing doesn't help you. That enabling that kind of party that basically keeps losing and losing doesn't help the party, it hurts the party. It hurts that side of the political spectrum. It hurts people trying to get to the right answers. So as you see here, Charlamagne will take him on in a way that probably Jaime Harrison has never encountered, literally in his life. Because a lot of these Democratic leaders, they only do the softest mainstream media interviews. And in those, they never, ever get aggressive pushback. They'll get light questioning on things they're familiar with. They'll do a talking point. But when you're on for an hour or so, and Charlamagne just keeps asking you one tough question after another, well, what you're gonna get is results like this.
Yeah, so for context, Harrison served as DNC chair from 2021 through early 2025, so basically during the entire Biden presidency. So his conversation with Charlamagne the God got heated less than 5 minutes into the interview. And that is because Harrison stated that the DNC does not choose which politicians will become the Democratic nominee, and Charlamagne vehemently disagreed and pushed back. Take a look.
So there was always rumor that the DNC were the ones that, quote unquote, picked who they wanted to be.
Man, that's a bunch of baloney.
Stop it, Jaime. That's not baloney.
Oh, man.
But that's what they say. They say they pick somebody who they feel will be the president.
You can tell the truth.
Well, I am telling the truth. Tell me with the power I have to pick. If I'm the DNC chair, what power do I have to pick? Like people say, well, you could have told Joe Biden to not run. Like seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could have said that.
I think ultimately what the president saw was that this fight is actually tearing the party apart. And I don't want that to be on me.
Stop it, Jaime.
No, I'm not. I'm telling you the truth.
You're not beholden to them no more.
No, it's not about being beholden to them. I'm telling you the truth.
That man was too old. Everybody knew he was too old.
But Charlamagne,
he should have been a transitional president from the beginning.
Charlamagne, I get all of that. I get all of that. But you know what? Somebody should have stepped up. If people thought that Joe Biden was too old, then some real people should have stepped up and said, you know what, I'm going to run.
But then they get their ass handed to
I was about to say, what does
when
that
Dean
look like with no
Phillips does
support?
that, y'all kick him out.
All right, so the debate about Joe Biden continued when Charlamagne confronted Harrison with an anecdote from Original Sin. So here's that clip.
Jake Tapper book, I read the book. Said President Biden walked up to you, shook your hand.
That's a bunch of bull. That's a bunch of bull.
I don't believe that, Jaime.
But why don't you believe me?
Because I
Tell
people
that don't know what happened.
He said that Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson wrote in their book, Original Sin, that Biden shook DNC chair at the time, Jaime Harrison's hand, and didn't recognize who he was.
Probably didn't remember.
Jaime said he was lying.
I said that is bull because it was bull. Every time that Joe Biden always related me to Jim Clyburn, right? So every time
he thought you was Jim Clyburn.
No, shut up. No, come on.
I knew that was going to.
You guys did it.
You walking into that.
I walked right into that.
Right, so Charlamagne and Harrison also had a fierce debate over whether or not the DNC is beholden to its corporate donors. So let's see how that one went down.
There's a perception that the DNC is too tied to corporate donors and special.
Yeah, man, that's bull too. Oh, okay, tell me. Pull the records, pull the receipts. There are some Democrats in Congress who do take corporate PAC dollars like they do in part of their fundraising. You know, if these people are still passing healthcare and they're not fighting for tax cuts for these wealthy corporations and all that. They're actually trying to increase the taxes on some of these folks. It's kind of hard to say that these people aren't fighting for their constituents, man.
And I just want to ask you to be clear. So you said the DNC has never taken corporate dollars in the past.
No, the DNC, I mean, I don't know if there is some...
No corporate PAC money.
There may be some corporate PAC money.
No, you said there wasn't.
No. But you said that the DNC was controlled by corporate PAC money. If there is corporate PAC money, it's probably less than 5%. No, DNC has taken corporate PAC money in the past. I mean, all of the parties have taken corporate PAC money.
All right, well, Charlamagne didn't just ask about the corporate PAC money. He also asked about AIPAC specifically and its hold on the Democratic Party. And Harrison had a very interesting response to that one, so let's watch.
Do you think AIPAC and like other powerful lobbies like that have too much influence over Democrat leaders?
I think there's...
And the party's agenda?
No, I think AIPAC has a lot of power over both parties, right? Or people in both parties, because I don't want to use the party as a whole, as a label. There are people in the parties in which AIPAC is very influential on, in both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. And so, you know, organizations like that probably do have a little too much influence. And the only way that we curb that is to change the campaign finance laws in this country. So that it is more grassroots focused and oriented and less about these big PACs that come up. I think one of the worst things was the Citizens United decision.
I hate scams, especially the ones that target seniors, and Medicare's chock full of them. Between commission-hungry brokers and thousands of confusing plan options, most seniors aren't on the best plan for them. That's why I partner with Chapter. They're fully independent and they work for you, not the insurance companies. That's really important. They can review all your options in under 20 minutes, and the average senior they help saves over $1,100 a year. And the best part of it is, it doesn't cost you a thing. Call 301-969-2545 to connect with a Chapter advisor today.
Okay, Cenk, before I get to you, we have one more clip to get to. Throughout the entire interview, Charlamagne and Harrison agreed on only one topic, and here it is.
How come Merrick Garland doesn't get any smoke?
Like, he should get plenty of smoke.
Now we talking, Jamie. Okay.
I wish Doug Jones would have. I thought that was the biggest mistake of the Biden administration, appointing Merrick Garland. And it's because we always want to be like the above the fray. We always want to be like, well, let's do it by the book. Let's do it academic. But sometimes you got to fight, right? Yeah. You just got to fight. And I wish Doug Jones or somebody of that ilk would have been the attorney general, because Merrick Garland was awful. He was abysmally awful.
He didn't investigate the Epstein files.
Dropped the ball.
And he indicted Trump too late on January 6th because he didn't want to seem too political. Meanwhile,
what is Trump
President
doing?
Trump is out here like, I'm locking all y'all up.
Yep.
All right, Cenk, you know, he's very careful with his words here. We see him trying to massage a point to where he's not really saying too much, but he's still saying a little bit of something because he wants some kind of credit for doing so, I guess. But Charlamagne pointed out very early on in the interview, in these clips that we showed, that, he's not the head of the DNC anymore. He's not the chair anymore. He should be able to speak more freely than he is, but he still is, really sticking to these party lines. And the one thing that he conceded on was that Merrick Garland was not great at his job, which is such an easy point to concede. Like, that's not saying anything. Everyone knows that Merrick Garland was no good. But even the point about AIPAC, he was very careful to say, both sides have, AIPAC is influencing both sides or controls both sides, whatever it was that he said or didn't say. So there wasn't a whole lot of accountability. Again, not sure what we were looking for, considering he's not the DNC chair anymore. But Cenk, I know you've got some more to show the people.
Yeah. So first of all, I love that Charlamagne did this interview and held him to account. And we found out some good things from it. First of all, whenever they get out of power, they're always a little bit more honest. So when he was a DNC chair, would he have said the same things about Merrick Garland? Of course not. But that's when Merrick Garland was being a disaster. That's when it would have mattered. Would he have said something about how Joe Biden was too old and we shouldn't run him because then we're going to lose to Trump. No, he would have never said that when he was the head of the DNC. Afterwards, he's like, oh, no, everything was fine. No, yeah, sure. So they always, in the small concessions that they make towards the truth, they always do it once they're out of power. They never do it while they're in power. Now, secondly, on AIPAC, that was an interesting little half admission that Charlamagne got, and I appreciate that. If you noticed, he started by saying control, then he switched it to power, then to influence. In fact, I think we have a clip on that. Let's watch.
AIPAC is a lot of power over both parties, right? There are people in the parties in which AIPAC is very influential on, in both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party.
Interesting how that works, right? I mean, AIPAC control. Oh no, I can't say controls. They obviously control. I'm the head of the DNC, but I can't say that. Well, let's say they have power. They might get mad at me. I'm sorry. I mean, they're influential, but you could tell he's scared to death of AIPAC, and all the Democrats are scared to death of AIPAC. And by the way, why? Oh my God, we might not get any more legalized bribes from AIPAC, and AIPAC has a boatload of legalized bribes. Oh, I want the money, right? Right, Jamie? It's about the money, right? You sold out everyone for corporate money and AIPAC money. Now let's turn to the corporations. He says, we only have 5% corporate PAC money in DNC. Well, that's great news, Jamie. Then it won't cost much to get rid of it. I mean, every time they go to do a resolution at the DNC and we say, hey, you know what? Let's do no corporate PAC money. They're like, no! Okay, then what are you fighting it for if it's only 5%? I guarantee you if you get rid of that rule, you'll get 10% more in grassroots donations. You probably get 20% more. You'll make more money. I know you're obsessed with money. You forgot that money is a means to an end. The end is actually winning the elections and passing laws that help people. But Jaime Harrison and his ilk don't remember that at all. They're just like obsessed with money. It's like a cartoon, right? So AIPAC money, precious corporate PAC. Okay, so if it's only 5%, then you'll make more money by getting rid of them. No, he's lying, and you could tell he's lying. He's like, oh, there's no corporate PAC money. And Charlamagne's like, really? And he's like, well, okay, there's no 5%. I mean, there's money, and the candidates get corporate money, and I can't. All right, so of course there's giant corporate influence. And yes, they have the same power as AIPAC. Here's a legal bribe. Now, Democratic representative or senator, you don't work for your state anymore. You don't work for your district. You work for ExxonMobil or Pfizer or Israel or UAE or whoever, right? So nothing he says is honest. And now finally, we get to the mother lode of dishonesty. So Joe Biden's running. No major candidate in the beginning gets in. Marianne Williamson's in. She was right all along. So then I'm shocked. I'm like, he's in the 30s in approval rating. No incumbent has won in the 30s. No, almost no incumbent wins in the 40s, let alone his age, let alone all of the other disastrous things. Isn't anyone going to challenge him? So what does the DNC do in the meanwhile? By the way, there was also RFK Jr. in the beginning, right? They're like, Marianne Williamson is illegitimate. RFK Jr. is illegitimate. They have no credibility. They're terrible. They better get out of the race. They're helping Trump. They're traitors, right? Meanwhile, Jaime Harrison's like, oh, what? Nobody ran. Why didn't anybody run, right? So then I can't believe what's going on. I come in as a protest candidate to try to get bigger candidates in. They're like, Cenk, you can't run. And in South Carolina, his home state, Jaime Harrison makes an argument against civil rights. He says, no, even though the 14th Amendment clearly says all persons born or naturalized have the same exact rights, he's like, no, naturalized citizens should be inferior. So Cenk is an illegitimate candidate and sends the South Carolina Democratic Party in court to say, we don't want to be associated with him. He's a naturalized citizen. So he literally fights against civil rights for Americans to protect Joe Biden. Now he's going on, oh, I don't know, I was innocent. What protecting Joe Biden? No, nobody ran. Then as Charlamagne points out, then Dean Phillips gets in. No excuses, US congressman, right? Perfectly legitimate, credible, everything you want. Not a protest candidate, born here, everything. What did Jaime Harrison do? He smeared the living crap out of Dean Phillips. And anyone who dared to oppose the Mad King, you would have Jaime Harrison and other Democratic goons go out there and go, oh, they're credible, they're not credible, they're illegitimate, they're losers, they should never cover them, they're helping Trump, they're traitors, right? And now, oh, why didn't anybody run? Golly gee, we were so open to it. No, you weren't, you're a gigantic liar. And all you did was protect Joe Biden. And if you, okay, either you don't know anything about politics, you don't even know the simplest fact that an incumbent in the 30s has almost no chance of winning. You're a buffoon and know nothing about politics. And you dared to try to run the Democratic Party when you don't know one thing about politics? Or you knew that, and you knew Joe Biden had dementia because he couldn't even recognize you, and you decided to betray Democratic voters, betray the Democratic Party, betray this country so that Joe Biden, who picked you, would be favored. Even if he's not the guy that could beat Trump, even if it means that Trump was going to win, you didn't care because your political ambition was tied to Joe Biden. So now that Joe Biden's not around anymore, Jaime Harrison has no daddy to run to. So why do you think he's even doing an interview? Like normally, like these elites in the Democratic Party never deign to do interviews with real hosts like Charlamagne. No, he has to because he's got no daddy left. So now he has no political protector. He's on his own, has to earn a living, and he doesn't know how to do that. So now he has to go around and doing interviews and podcasts, etc. Come on our show, Jamie, see how it turns out for you. Of course, you'll never do that because you're, by the way, if I'm the liar and you're the one telling the truth, come on here and call it out to my face. Bring receipts, show why you're right and I'm wrong. Of course he won't do that because he's a giant liar who totally betrayed the Democratic voters for his own political and personal benefit, protected the Mad King that he knew couldn't run against Trump because it was all about Jaime Harrison's career and Joe Biden's career instead of actually what the voters wanted. Last thing you asked for me is this guy comically says, I mean, yeah, the Democrats, they take corporate money, but it's not like they're not delivering for their voters. Oh, I mean, look, I don't know what's worse, if he's like rubbing it in our face and insulting our intelligence, or if he actually means it. It's like, I mean, come on. We passed a middling healthcare law created by the Heritage Foundation. What now, Jesus, 2009, that's 16 years ago. And then we gave Intel and a bunch of other chip manufacturers $50 billion in subsidies. What else do you want? And we negotiated drug prices on one drug, one out of tens of thousands. Oh, and you think just because we took corporate drug company money and we protected, we did this total fraud where we pretended to regulate them, but actually protected their monopoly. And we did that as they were drowning us in corporate cash. And you think we didn't help the voters and you think that's not enough? How dare you vote Democrat, help my career. And I'm never gonna give you anything, but you have to bow down to me anyway because I'm a Democratic elite. Well, Jamie, good news for the rest of us, bad news for you. Those days are over, brother. So you can claim to be a political elite all you want and nobody cares. In fact, we kind of borderline despise you for it.
Yeah, and they're starting, they were told to go on these podcasts, go on these shows, you have to reach the voters, and they are doing that, and it is really not working out very well for them, as we can already see. So it'll be interesting to see if they start to kind of pivot their approach that way, because these podcasters and the hosts of these online shows, they're not going to be as forgiving to these politicians as the people on CNN are, or MSNBC, or all these other corporate media outlets, and they're learning that very, very quickly. And yeah, as far as, oh, what was I supposed to do? Tell Joe Biden not to run? Nobody else was running. Okay, the Dems still can't even endorse Zohran Mamdani, even after he defeated two establishment Dem liberals in New York City. And also, like Kamala Harris, they literally picked Kamala Harris for us, right? His whole point about the DNC is not choosing who these candidates are. They literally picked Kamala Harris for us. There was no primary. They waited until after the primary, and then that's when Biden dropped out. However, whoever was in charge of that, that's what happened. And a lot of Democrats were like, it would have been nice if we got to primary somebody. But speaking of politicians who, don't speak out until they're out of office, and these career politicians, that is one of the big problems with our current system of government, just the nature of two parties and the nature of electoral terms. Because once they're elected into office, their words become less valuable and less trustworthy because their words are now immediately tainted and paid for, or at least that's an assumption that we can all make. And AOC, when she first got elected into Congress, she actually said it. She said as soon as she got to DC, there were people banging on her door trying to give her money to say this or not to say this. And it was really, really hard to just say, no, I don't want it. And that's the nature of our Congress, and it's very, very difficult because everybody says that they want authenticity, but what we're seeing, especially with this current cycle of Democrats going around on all these different shows, is that they are having a really hard time sticking to talking points whenever the hosts of the shows are not letting them veer off too far in one direction without saying, wait, go back here. I want clarification on this point. And they're unable to clarify without putting their feet in their mouths.
Yeah, he does have foot and mouth syndrome. The problem with going on honest shows is that you have to be honest back. And when you're not honest, you get caught. And Jamie just got caught. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.